The Raiders may be in the market for a former Pro Bowl and/or Pro cornerback, especially following the recent visit of Shedeur Sanders to the team, while the chances of Ashton Jeanty being selected with the 6th overall pick remain uncertain. So what are the alternatives? There's growing speculation that the Raiders could look to reinforce their defense, particularly at the cornerback position. Recent reports indicate that a team and a high-profile cornerback are looking to part ways. The general manager commented that, regarding the player's future, both sides have agreed it would be best to move on. In fact, it's been reported that this 7-time Pro Bowler and his current team are actively exploring trade options, and it wouldn't be surprising to see him suiting up elsewhere in 2025. The cornerback in question carries a fully guaranteed $25.1 million contract for the upcoming season, which could be a contributing factor in the potential separation. Within this context, it's easy to connect the dots to the Raiders, who are emerging as one of the likely landing spots. According to reports, Las Vegas currently holds the second best odds to land this all-pro cornerback via trade. The player, who will turn 31 in October, is still widely considered one of the top cornerbacks in the league. With 7 Pro Bowl appearances and 3 first-team All-Pro selections under his belt, he's on a Hall of Fame trajectory. A highly respected coach once described him as the prototype for the position, and he'd immediately slot in as the Raiders' top cornerback. Importantly, the team has enough salary cap space to make this deal happen. There has always been a connection between this player and the Raiders. He's publicly expressed interest in joining the team, once even saying, "Please, bring me there," when Las Vegas was still finalizing its relocation. He reportedly pleaded for the move, but the offer from another team didn't align with Jacksonville's interests at the time. It's crucial the Raiders act swiftly this time, unlike in a previous situation where a fan-favorite player arrived only after his best years were behind him. This cornerback still appears to have a lot left in the tank, capable of handling some of the league's elite wide receivers. Given the recent release of another defensive back, the opportunity to strengthen the secondary is even more urgent. The team has been closely watching prospects like Will Johnson for the upcoming NFL draft, considering cornerbacks as possible first-round targets. But landing this all-pro now would reduce the pressure to address the position in round 1 or even in later rounds, freeing the Raiders to build depth in other areas. At this stage, quarterback isn't a pressing need in the first round, or even in later rounds, as the team could look to add depth instead. Given the current roster construction, this cornerback would bring a significant upgrade to the defensive unit. His proven ability in both man and zone coverage is exactly what the team has been searching for. If Las Vegas can finally secure a true CB1, his presence would be transformative. The question then becomes, what would it cost to get him? With both sides moving toward a split, it's doubtful the player's current team would get the kind of return they're hoping for. A 4th-round pick or even a 5th packaged with later selections might get the deal done. I'd love to see him wear the silver and black at least once in his career. Teaming him with a veteran coach and young corners to learn from him would be the ideal scenario for the Raiders. As for intriguing fits, it's worth mentioning the quarterback who recently visited the team. He spent time with Las Vegas, which is significant considering the team already traded a 3rd-round pick earlier this offseason. Perhaps with him in mind, there's always the need to secure a long-term solution at quarterback, and this player also visited other franchises, including Pittsburgh last week. If he slides past the top 3 picks, the 6th pick could be a golden opportunity. Everyone knows how high I am on him. He's at the top of my board if he's still available. He's already proven to be a valuable asset for teams in need of a quarterback. But I still believe there's a chance he drops to 6, especially with some teams potentially going BPA, best player available. If that happens, the Raiders could find themselves in a very intriguing spot. Even after acquiring a quarterback earlier this offseason, he'd make a perfect backup. And if something were to happen to the starter, or if he struggles, fans would be calling for this guy to step in. That's not a bad thing at all. I even came across a tweet suggesting this could be a very real option for the Raiders in the draft. The current quarterback could serve as a bridge while this new guy develops. If he performs well and becomes the franchise guy, the team could easily move on from the current starter's contract or keep him around a bit longer. I get that using A first-round pick on a quarterback might not be the most popular move among fans, but the team would benefit greatly from adding any promising QB, especially considering the recent struggles at the position, bringing in another potential future. Star can only help, giving the team more flexibility. Either way, it's a win-win. Whether the current starter plays well or not, they'd have someone waiting in the wings, learning, and ready to step up when needed. Even in a worst-case scenario, the rookie could shine in a few years after learning from the starter. But there's another layer to this. What if it's all just a smokescreen? What if the team's interest in this quarterback is simply posturing to pressure another team into trading up? There are several QB-needy teams that might be willing to move up the draft board to secure their guy, and jumping from the middle of the draft into the top 5 would require a lot of capital. I'm not sure if the Raiders would want to trade too far down, but they could gain multiple picks in later rounds, which they definitely need. In any case, the Raiders find themselves in a strong position with multiple options and scenarios to explore. Hopefully, their final decision will be the right one and won't leave fans scratching their heads. Lately, a running back has been generating buzz as a possible pick at number 6 due to the team's needs. The player himself mentioned that the Raiders were among the teams that showed strong interest during a recent event. He interacted with multiple franchises and pointed out that Las Vegas stood out in terms of consistent communication, despite other RBs participating in the workouts. It's easy to see why many view him as the favorite for the 6th pick. However, the team could opt against selecting him there. In a recent interview, an executive reflected on his past practices at another organization, hinting that they might be willing to pass on the pick, especially given the depth at the running back position in this year's draft class. Ideally, everything would line up perfectly and they'd land a perfect player, but that rarely happens. I remember a past situation where there was a heated debate between 2 prospects, and ultimately, the only one available wasn't even the clear favorite. In that case, the talent gap between the remaining cornerback and what was expected in round 2 was much greater than the difference between the top RB and someone like TJ Ward. That likely drove the final decision. One of the players ended up being drafted by the Chiefs, while the other remained available for the Raiders. This example highlights the importance of draft order, team needs, and the remaining talent on the board. That same logic applies here. I'm fine with not selecting the RB at number 6, given the depth and talent available later on. While I respect his college production and accolades, there are other exciting RB prospects in this class. If the Raiders pass on him, they could go in another direction, maybe offensive line, quarterback, or even another position with a sharper talent drop-off after the top guy. A well-informed analyst recently mentioned he wouldn't be shocked to see the Raiders prioritize their offensive or defensive line in round 1. There's definitely a lot of speculation about their interest in this RB, especially considering how teams are watching the GM's past tendencies. But it's not guaranteed that those patterns will hold. He's undoubtedly one of the top names in this draft, and his connection to the team has been widely discussed. But when you evaluate the GM's history, preferences, and roster construction strategies, it wouldn't be surprising to see them take a lineman. There's even an article out there that highlights a University of Missouri lineman as the ideal fit at number 6 for the Raiders. The piece argues that while this RB is a top talent, the team might be better off targeting an impact player for their offensive line. The new GM has a history of prioritizing linemen early in the draft with his previous team, and in one year, they selected a lineman with a high pick, then doubled down with another first-rounder and 2 second-rounders. In subsequent years, their current goal is to become a physical, dominant football team, and that's why Armand Mambo might be the perfect pick at number 6. Even though they already have a solid offensive line, there's a major hole at right tackle, and Mambo could fill that spot immediately. While he may be the best offensive lineman available, his exclusive experience at right tackle in college might cause him to slide slightly. Still, he checks all the boxes to be a top-tier starter, and his addition would be key, especially in a division full of elite pass rushers. Mambo is the kind of lineman that coaches would love to have protecting their quarterback. Although it's not trendy to draft OL in round 1, with solid prospects often found in rounds 2 through 6, I don't see it as an ideal pick. Personally, I'd rather add a skill player who could contribute right away. Still, I recognize the value in fortifying the trenches Plus, the O-line wasn't disastrous last year, and DJ Glaze, heading into year 2, could still develop into a reliable right tackle. With that in mind, it might make more sense to target a right guard or another RT later in the draft. Mambo's combined performance has certainly raised his stock, and it's easy to imagine him fitting in well with his team. If the Raiders do end up drafting him, it might not be a flashy pick, but it could pay off down the line. All things considered, the idea of selecting Mambo isn't a bad one. The case for him is strong, but of course it's always smart to keep exploring other possible directions to strengthen the team overall. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on our Las Vegas Raiders. And don't be shy, drop your thoughts on the news in the comments below. Las Vegas is known for its bright lights and bold bets, and the Raiders might be preparing to place the biggest one yet. In a move that could shake the entire NFL landscape, sources close to the organization suggest that the Silver and Black are seriously pursuing Miami Dolphins wide receiver Tyreek Hill. The Cheetah, known for his electrifying speed and record-breaking production, has become the crown jewel of the Raiders' off-season ambitions. After a turbulent end to his 2024 season in Miami, Hill's future is uncertain, and Las Vegas appears ready to pounce. It's not just smoke. There's plenty of fire behind the rumors. Hill, who was visibly frustrated after the Dolphins' disappointing 8-9 finish and postseason absence, made waves when he declared, "I'm out," following a season-ending loss to the Jets. Though Miami's front office has downplayed the drama, calling it a moment of frustration rather than a formal trade request. Hill's social media antics, changing his profile picture in a way that echoed Antonio Brown's infamous Buccaneers exit, suggest a deeper discontent. Behind closed doors, NFL insiders believe Miami is at least entertaining calls, and the Raiders have emerged as the most aggressive suitor. It makes sense for Las Vegas. The Raiders are in desperate need of a dynamic playmaker to elevate their offense, and Hill fits the bill better than anyone else in the league. Despite his team's struggles in 2024, the 30-year-old wideout still racked up over 700 receiving yards and 13 touchdowns, earning first-team All-Pro honors once again. His ability to stretch defenses, turn short gains into long scores, and command double coverage would instantly transform the Raiders' offensive identity. Pairing Hill with a competent quarterback and a coaching staff willing to maximize his gifts could make Las Vegas a serious playoff contender overnight. Beyond the field, Hill brings marketability and star power, two things the Raiders crave as they continue to establish themselves in the glitz and glamour of Vegas. A Hill jersey would sell like wildfire on the Strip. His presence would not only energize the Flash fan base but also attract national media attention and boost ticket sales. For a franchise looking to solidify its new identity post-Derek Carr, adding one of the NFL's most recognizable talents could be the cultural reset the Raiders need. Sources indicate that owner Mark Davis is fully on board, believing Hill's arrival could usher in a new era of relevance and swagger. Still, the deal won't come cheap. Miami is unlikely to let go of Hill without a significant return, think multiple first-round picks or a package involving young, high-upside players. The Dolphins maintain that Hill is part of their future even if tensions remain unresolved. But in a league where stars are traded more freely than ever and where timing is everything, the Raiders sense opportunity. Whether Hill actually dons, the Silver and Black remains to be seen. But one thing is certain, Las Vegas is going all in on the idea. And in Sin City, that's often how the biggest wins begin. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Las Vegas Raiders, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.